Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wade. I thought we'd have a Hachette Partwork week this week. We're going to give Hachette Partworks some love. You probably noticed the theme that every video this week is going to be something to do with Hachette Partworks. And today, I'm going to be doing the next 4 stages, stages 59 to 62, I think that's right, of the Hachette Partworks release to build the B.III Lancaster bomber. Okay, I'm going to do things slightly different here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be doing those 4 stages. Now, I do have the next pack here as well, down here. And in stage 64, we do get some replacement hinges for these landing gear doors, which weren't closing properly. Now, from what I understand, they're still not working. So I want to test that for myself today. Hachette Partworks are aware of that. That's why I'm going to be testing it as part of this. And then obviously we'll see where we go from there if there is an issue. But we are going to be doing these 4 stages, so without further ado, let's get cracking. So regardless of what there is to do in each stage, I am going to be splitting all of these stages down today. So as you can see, we've got the start of the undercarriage here, and we've got some little pins here. Why have we got a propeller? I need to check that. You'll need the propellers assembled in issue 1. What are we doing? I think we're replacing something in the propellers. That's interesting. Okay, we're going to be replacing something in the propellers by the look of it. And then we're going to be working on the undercarriage, as you can see there. Okay. I wasn't aware we had a problem with the propellers, I have to say. I'm going to have to read up about this. Now, here's the problem that I've got. Here's 2 propellers here. Which one was issue 1? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. And I don't know if we're replacing both. Hang on a second. We do have 2 of these. So I'm wondering if we are going to be doing both of the propellers. I'm guessing that's probably what we're doing. So it's basically this end here that we're going to be changing by the look of it. So what I need to do is take off these bits here. Pull off that center cap. That'll enable me to get to the screws underneath. And then remove this from this backing plate here. Once I've done that, I'm going to be taking the plastic crown here and putting that back inside this section, and then putting these back together, which means I am going to need the blocks for this, which, if you remember, looks like this. Put these back in. That's perfect. Put this back over the top and screw this in with the longer of the screws. Not quite sure what that's done, but as you can see, that's still working perfect there. It's just a case of putting everything back together again. So I'm going to be putting this top on like that. Then the cone section, and then these 3 screws here are going to put that back into place. I'm wondering if that's giving a tighter fit on this hole here. I've got no idea, but that's that one done. I'm just going to do the same on the other one here. And there you go. That's 2 propellers done. It does say keep a note of which one's the inside and which one's the outside propeller. I've got no idea, so, but I'm going to put them to one side. These, I don't think we need anymore, so I'm going to keep them to one side as well. That means we can now get on with the undercarriage though. So let's get this open. Going to put my magnifying glasses on for this one. And what I'm going to do is take one of these struts, put this in here like that. It's going to be held in with one of the pins that we've got in here. Now I am putting the pin in some oil because that's going to help it go into here. And then use my duckbill pliers to push that all the way in. Perfect. So that's one in. Do exactly the same on the other side. So bit of oil, put the pin in first, just like that. And then put this part of the undercarriage in, and then duckbill pliers to push that together. Excellent. So that's those in. And then on the ends of these, I'm going to be putting this little bit that way round. That's going to be going on here. And once again, pins to hold that into place. Just like that. Do the same on the other side. And there you go. They're both in, and that's all there is to do in that stage. So that brings us on to stage 60. As you can see, we've got another wheel here we're going to be putting together. So getting all of these pins into place and then putting this wheel on just like that. And this is the rest of the magazine. Let's get everything out here. I can't remember that we had to soak this wheel. I don't think we do. Let's have a look. So what I want to do is bring over this part that we created in stage 58. And I'm going to be putting one of these forks in with this section facing towards this section here, just in there like that. It's going to be held in one of the pins, and I always find it easier just to put the pin in first before I even let that fork go anywhere near it. Put the fork in and then close that off. Do the same on the other side. Ensure you are using the smaller of the pins, not the big ones, when we do this, because there is two sets of pins here, you see. You've got the small and the large. And there you go. They're both in there. Then I'm going to be putting these parts of the wheel in. So one side goes in here. That seems to be going in okay. And then we're just going to be compressing that with the other side, which goes in here. This then is going to be going this way round onto the frame here. It is tight. But that's all lined up there. And then I'm going to put a pin with some oil on it again all the way through. And I'll use my little hammer here to bang this into place. Perfect. There we go. That's the wheel on. All I'm going to do then is take the part that we created in the last stage. I'm going to be putting this into this section here. Now it goes on the very first hole of this bracket. So one on this side, and I'm using the larger of the pins now. Again, I might need to put the pin in first. I think I will actually. That's one side in. Do the same on the other side. Now this is a fiddly stage, isn't it? Perfect. As you can see, they're in just like that. And with them all in, that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 61, here's the magazine. As you can see, we've now got the housing for the undercarriage, which we're going to be piecing together just like this. So that's how that's looking. Let's do that. Some tiny pieces in here, look. Check that out. And once again, we've got some pins to put into place. I'm going to be putting these shocks here, these hydraulic units, into this point here and holding them in with the tiny pins we get in this one. Again, same technique to ensure they don't pin off into oblivion is I put them in my pliers, I dip them in a bit of oil. I'll add them to this bracket that they're going in, put the shaft in, push the pin through, and then close that off. Perfect, so that's one in. Do the same on the other one, and then close that up. Excellent, so those two are in. Now these will be going into this panel here. Now they have got keyhole patterns on them, so they go into the top just like that. They're held in with the CM flange screws I've got here. Again, I'll put these in a bit of oil because I'm going into metal. There you go, that's those in. This is then going to be fitting onto the inside of this section here, just like this. There is some locating lugs in the middle to ensure that's going to sit flat in there. So it's in like that, but we're holding it in from this side here. So we've got these small flat CP screws, which go in from this side. And there we go, that's in like that. Now, going to be bringing over the undercarriage we've been working on. And what I want to do is put the shock absorbers into the shafts here, like that, or hydraulics. And then I'm going to be putting these ends into the other ends of this here. So let's get this lined up, just like that. I've got one side in. And that's screwed in with one of the flange CM screws. Do the other side here. And with that in place, that is how that's looking at the moment. Pretty cool, huh? It is still shaking around because we haven't connected this area up here yet. But that is all there is to do in that stage. So in the last stage of this pack, this is stage 62. As you can see, we've got the motor here and the housing, which we're going to be putting this into place just on here, like that. And that is how we're going to be leaving it in this pack. There you go. Now, just so you know, this wheel should be coming out at the bottom here, not the top like I have. If you've done what I've done and it's the wrong way round, you are just going to need to loosen these points here. 1 and 2. See, I'm leaving all my mistakes in. Put the wheel through and make sure we put it in through the right way. So it's coming through the top here. See, I make mistakes so you don't have to. Excellent. So now that is how that should look. So what we're going to do is we're going to be bringing over this section we've been working on and put this cog just on this side here. Now it should fit all the way down there, so it's fitting flush in there just like that. Now I want to keep it on here, so I've got a bracket that this is going to be sitting in. So that cog or gear section is going to be fitting in the longer slip, probably best on the top camera here. It's going to go in there just like that. I'm just holding this with my finger at the moment because I'm going to be putting the top on now, and the open side of this is going furthest away from that gear, so this is going to be going in like that there, and then it's screwed in with tiny FP screws, which are silver screws, just from the bottom here. See, I've turned that over and I'm going to get 4 of these screws just into the holes here. Now when the motor and all the mechanisms in here, I'm going to be greasing this up a lot. But there you go. Now that's in, we get to engage the motor. Now the motor can only really go in either this way or the other way, so I'm putting it in this way here, so that's now engaged onto the motor. If you want to do it exactly like the instructions, if I'm putting it in this way, they've got this red lead towards me. And then this is going to be attached to the bottom of this undercarriage housing here, just like that. And then I've got these black DP screws to hold that in. Now that motor's engaged, the undercarriage can't go anywhere. So I'll get these screws in. Perfect. So as you can see, that's now locked in place because of the motor. And with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. But we're going to have a quick look at stage 64. You will see we've got these replacement hinges for the undercarriage doors. And basically it's given us instructions of how we're going to be putting these on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the first one that we did and see if they do make a difference. Okay, so let's demonstrate the problem that we have. As you can see, they open fine, but when they close, we're still left with this section here, which is open. Now, I can muck it round like that, so it starts slow, but then when I open it again, it's good. But when I close it, see? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the hinges on these doors here. Now to do that, what I'm going to do is just disconnect these ball joints. 1 and 2. Turn this over. And as you can see, I've got 4 screws here that I'm going to want to remove. That will enable me to remove these parts here. 1. Just taking off my insulating tape for these wires here. And 2. And then what will happen is the doors now can actually just come out, as you can see. Right, put this to one side, and I'm going to compare these to what we've been given in stage 64. Now the whole of stage 64 is almost looking at this and adding these, which I'm going to be doing later on when we actually come to doing this stage. But we've got left and right hinges here, or left being port side. So it's just a case of taking them out like this. I don't want to confuse which one's what. So this is the old one, and this is the new one. So just marking them on here. There's not a lot of difference. We've got, this one's got a bend in it. The new one doesn't really have much of a bend. So they are definitely different. So put that to one side, and I'm going to be putting these in, making sure they're in the correct way again. So one in there and one in there. Do the same with the one on the other side. And again, I will just compare these. And as you can see, the newer one is a lot more straight than the old one, which has that bend in there. Actually goes around that way, as you can see. So put the new one in here. Then it's just going to be a case of putting these back in. Okay, plug these ball joints back into the side. One there and one there. So I'm ensuring that the inside edge of these are tight against there. And as you can see, when they close, they are a little bit better. They're slightly off center there, but look what's happened. They sink into here. And because of that, I can't open them. To open them, what I've got to do is actually just adjust them like that, and then I'll be able to open them like that. I don't know if that's going to make a difference when it's that way round. Let's have a look. They go in, but they're not going to go out again. And then if I go back to the way it was, I think this is a lot better, even though we've still got this gap. So I will let Hachette Partworks know that there is still an issue here. But believe me, the old ones are still way better than the new ones. And I do think those new ones are the wrong metal. I do think they're far too thin and flimsy. I thought I would include that just so I can tell you how my one's reacting as well. There's definitely something up with those hinges there. I also think, might just be me, I think that wheel might be slightly too big as well, because it does rub on this side here, and I'm guessing I might need to sand it down on this side here. Don't know why that is, but there you go. But that's how it's looking at the moment. It's not sitting right at the moment anyway. So I do think there is a lot more work to do about these undercarriage gears. But I will, as I said, report that feedback. As you can see, I spent an hour on that trying to get that to work. But I think definitely that metal is far too thin, and they're not going to control with the amount of mechanics in there. They're just bending all over the place anyway. So I'm hoping that's a help to them there. But I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.